Hello and welcome to another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. I'm Wayne Highlander with Bone Adhesives.
I'm Rob Johnson with the Boner Training.
Happy New Year, Rob.
How you doing, buddy?
Off we go, right? Another year.
Let's do it. What'd you do?
Oh, we had a lot of people over. We went out to dinner and our little town had a little New Year's Eve celebration. We went to that and that was
Wow,
it. Yeah,
that's that's a lot.
it was
That's
very nice. It was very nice.
huge.
Hmm.
We did nothing.
Really? Hmm.
Absolutely nothing.
Well, that's
It
not,
was a long Christmas season, so
yeah,
we were just
yeah. Well, end of the year for you was busy as hell anyhow. I mean, you had so much running up to the end of the year and so I get it.
well, it was crazy because I kept saying to Pauline, "Oh, I just gotta get past these three schools, the final three holiday schools. Just gotta
Yeah.
get past that." And then after that, we were, in lockdown Christmas mode for the kids and the grandkids and
Hmm.
cooking and wrapping and decorating. And it was so, finally a New Year's hit. We were both crushed. So,
Yeah,
boy, do I sound like a little wuss, huh?
well, with your grandkids, we don't have any kids or grandkids, as you know, and we recently, my wife babysits a young kid. Babysits him. She picks him up for school, and he's with us for a couple hours in the afternoon for a couple days a week. He's 5 or 6 years old, and all he wants to do is play football. And I told my wife between the two of us, we're 130 years old versus his 6 years old. And he runs circles around us and he makes up the rules as he goes along and he changes the rules all the time. You can't win with him.
Right.
And I forgot how much energy they take. So anyhow,
Amazing, isn't it?
yeah,
It
yeah,
is amazing. Pauline gets the two youngest ones 3 days a week. Matter of fact, I just threw them out of the house. They're usually here on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but I had to I said, you guys we can't, they need to come here today. And I said, I got a podcast at 2 o'clock. You can't do a podcast with them in the house.
yes, you can. You know what? Why don't you bring one of them in on a podcast and let's introduce him. I'd like to see him or her.
All right.
They all
Well, I
boy.
threw them out already. They're gone.
Okay, all right,
But
okay.
I will do that the next time.
Yeah,
That would be fun.
sit him on your lap and
I
let's
will
let.
definitely do that. That could be pretty funny.
I
Yeah.
would love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah, because today she came in when I was setting up and everything, and she goes, "Papa, you have a big belly like my daddy." And I'm like, "Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm working on it," I said, but
Yeah.
you know, thank you for your honesty. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the truth about the kids, man.
Oh,
Some scary stuff comes out sometimes.
but I'll
All
tell you
right.
what, on Thursday when they leave and just after supper with Pauline, you can see her face just, oh,
No kidding.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. And but they are like the littlest one, then all he wants to do is play catch. It's funny
Yeah.
you said all your kid wants to do, the kid you're watching wants to play football.
Yeah.
Ben finds any ball he can, and you got to play catch with him
Hmm.
all day.
Yeah. I'm
It's
trying to get this kid to
crazy.
play soccer a little bit or something else because one, it's easier on me, but I can trying to convince him is makes him better as a football player. And then he criticizes every one of my passes when he goes out for a pass, and my pass he goes, "Hey, you got to put it here." Pretty critical kid. All right, what do you got on your mind?
Well, you know how I like doing that. It's the new year type of stuff. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I found that personally, it really helps me looking back at last year and what I want to do differently this year. Because sometimes when you're in the middle of the year, it's tough to make changes and stuff.
Hmm.
So now is the time.
All right.
So I think this one is like, you know, your business checklist going into next year. Top
Okay.
10 things to take a look at so we get a good,
Okay.
strong start to the season.
Okay. All right. Let it rip.
All right, number one, let's reflect on our goals from last year. I actually couldn't believe it, but I found my stuff from last year and what I wanted to make some changes with this year. And
And
and I sat down and wrote them out.
really, for this
Yeah,
year,
for this year.
good for
Yes.
you.
You
I'm
believe that?
I'm
I'm
actually
shocked.
I'm very big on setting goals. I think it's very important to set goals. So, what you got them in front of you?
Yes, I do.
How low is this bar?
It's pretty low.
Okay.
It's definitely pretty low.
Hmm.
All right. You want me to give? I'm going to give them to you.
Okay.
Now remember, this is, I don't own a business,
Hmm.
but how I run my schools and everything, it kind of treated like it was my own business.
I see your first one here. Try to attempt 200 hours.
Try to what?
Attempt 200 hours of Netflix viewing.
No, I don't think so.
All right. What are the so go ahead, shoot them
All
at
right,
me.
so all right, I know this is going to sound crazy, crazy stuff, but bear with me. To me, it's going to make a huge difference. So we did a lot of recode schools last year,
Hmm.
and what I was doing was going in and doing a 2 or 3 day, bonus and a finish class, and then doing an extra day on the recode classes. Well, what I found was we were doing recoats on finish that wasn't cured. So one of the switches I'm going to make to this year is I'm going to do the recoat classes on the first day, and then the next days do the Santa finish classes.
Okay, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I like I said, it's going to sound goofy, right?
Well, not in
But
your world. It makes sense. Yeah,
exactly,
yeah. You're
Ex-
training
ex-
and okay,
exactly,
okay,
exactly. Because sometimes when we're doing the recoat classes on finish that's 24 hours and hasn't cured, we get different you get different looks and things like that. So
yeah,
I want to do this stuff on some stuff that's completely, you know what I mean.
yeah. You know,
You know.
one thing about you when you set your goals, um, I think our football coach made this mistake one time, is that if you set the goals so high that halfway through they're unattainable, then I think like the whole thing is for naught, or else you feel defeated. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I think the small little micro goals along the way are just as important. As a matter of fact, you know when weightlifting got popular in the world? If you look back at the history of weightlifting, uh, there was like strong men that would travel the country in carnivals and whatever. They were big, huge strong men. Well, the weights they made were like you had to be a huge, strong dude to even begin. You know what I mean?
yeah.
When weightlifting got popular is when they started making the 2.5 pound weights, the small weights, the little weights. That's true. So you can make incremental gains because nobody goes from a 90 pound weakling, um, and then all of a sudden you're lifting 180 pounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to have the small weights along the way. So I think goals are the same way.
So you know what? I don't think these are goals. These aren't really goals. These are
Ruh-roh.
yeah, yeah. So I'm looking at, okay, so the number one here, reflect on your goals. Um we've all got goals when you work for Bona. That's part of your deal,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
But I think what we're working on, or what I'm talking about, is revamping. So here it says revamp your business plan.
Okay.
So I think that's what the 5 things I wrote down, 5 things that I'm going to go through. That would be more revamping than setting a goal.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Setting a goal is, hey, I'm going to do 50 schools next year.
Yeah.
That would be a goal. This is more of a revamp of things that I liked last year and how I'm going to improve on.
Okay.
What do you think?
I don't know what to think now.
Well, as I started reading it, I'm like, that's not really a goal, but
Well, here, maybe this will
it
help you
is a
out.
revamp. It's a revamp.
Okay. Well, that's a
Something I like
goal.
last year, but I'm going to make it better for this year.
Yeah. You should be a college professor. I think you'd be,
Really?
yeah. Get up in front of the class and go, we're going to talk about American history this week. Not so much American history, but science. Uh,
Not so much American history, but what happened in Australia? Yeah.
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 Well, maybe it'd be easier to take you out of the equation and just list
Yeah.
number one to reflect on your 2024 goals. I think that's
Well,
smart.
we gotta hopefully not we're not reflecting on 2024 goals, we're reflecting on 2025 goals.
Wait a minute. You could do that. You had goals in 2024, right? Maybe you look at them, go, all
Oh, do
right,
I
well,
really want to get depressed and look back at 2024? And
yeah. See, did you make these goals or not?
well, I based my goals off of last year. So whatever goals I had last year was based off of 2024. Always trying to kick it up.
What's what's your next goal? What's your next step in this
My
in
my
in this?
next in this revamp,
Yeah.
um, I would definitely want to have pricing available at all of my schools for new and used equipment.
Not, not you. Who gives a about you?
I thought we were still doing my stuff.
Well, what? Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Why don't I take your stuff and go to your manager and do it with him? These goals are for, see, these guys that listen are contractors. They do
Right.
floors.
Yeah.
I think it'd be more germane to them if you talked about what their goals and what they did last year, I think would be. Just me. But maybe
Okay.
everyone wants to hear your goals.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, these aren't goals.
oh, that's right. These are
This is
you
revamping our business plan.
you said this. You said the idea for the show is it's a new year and setting goals.
No, not setting goals. It's your checklist, the ultimate checklist going into next year.
Okay.
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 So, the ultimate checklist. Let's get back to it then.
Okay.
Let's reflect on last year's goals. That would be number one. How's that?
That's perfect.
Would you like to do number two?
No, 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 no. This is great.
Why don't you do number two so I know where to go from here?
Revamp your business plan.
Hey, there you go. That's a good
Okay.
idea.
All right. Well, I mean, I think taking a look at the business plan and work, you know, I think you have to have a reason why you're in business. What sets you aside than everybody else. Why would they want you to do the floors rather than some other guy do the floors? And then I think what's your core values? What do you stand for? What do you as a company stand for? Is it sustainability? Is it that you work great with moms that have kids in the house and they're worried about, you know, who's doing the floors in their house and blah blah blah. And you know what I mean? I mean, what is your reason for being in business? I think that's number one. And then I think you have to look at, all right, where did we succeed and where did we fail? Maybe on jobs that are 300 square feet and under, they were losers for us. Maybe that big builder that we were chasing, that we got all his business, we thought, oh man, we finally got this guy. He's the biggest guy in town. We're doing all his floors. That's a big feather in our cap. Well, you know what? maybe when we add up all the headaches and trouble that this guy was worth, schedule changes and complaints and, just being hard to work with and working around other trades, and maybe he wasn't worth it after all when we look at the bottom line. I think those are kind of good things to start off the year with,
Hmm.
to me. And let's do a reset. That's why I think very much in terms of teams. Like bring everybody in and do a round table, sit around, have a pizza, and get everybody's feedback. And maybe the guys will go, "Hey, we tell you what, those three hand scrape floors we did, man, that killed us. I hated doing those. I didn't like doing them either. Well, all right, you know what, guys? We're not going to be on those hand scrape floors anymore. Or else, if we do, we'll do them a certain way or what have you.
Or
We'll
we're gonna double up on the price of that. We're gonna make it really worth
double up on the price, or we'll bring all the labor to that job instead of putting one or two guys on it that took them a week and a half, where
one
we
or two
could,
guys we hate. Yeah.
yeah. So those are when I start looking at the new year, those are the kind of things I look at. Where the vans organized. I mean, that time that you guys were going to the job and they didn't have the right cord for the buffer, so they had to go back, or maybe we're going to the we're just spending too much time with distribution, picking up different things when we could have it delivered, or I could do that or whatever. Or you bring up a good point where guys are using Uber now to have parts brought out to their house, and sandpaper brought out to their job and stuff. Um, I think
Man,
those are
that
type
blew
of,
me away when I saw that. That was,
yeah,
and then it just made so I go, wow, that makes a
yeah,
lot of sense.
yeah. I think those are the type of things when I sit down and look at the year. And then how did I feel overall mentally about last year? Did I work too many hours? Did I stress the guys out because I didn't turn jobs down? You know what I mean? Or did we ended up where we got so busy doing the floors that I couldn't do the scheduling, and I was behind on that. And then you got the yin and the yang where it's like we're busy, but all of a sudden we don't have anything because I wasn't able to bid that I wanted to bid and everything, and were we off balance that way? So, um,
I'm gonna give you a bell,
okay,
and I'll tell you why.
okay,
I like the idea of bringing in the whole crew.
mm-hmm,
I do like that idea because I don't know if you've ever been a part of it. I think you have. Sometimes when we're doing a class, at the end of the day, I'll sit down with the other instructors and go, okay, what kind of work today? What didn't work? What worked? What didn't work? And I'm always surprised by some of the feedback I get from new guys in training or guys who have never attended one of my classes before,
mm-hmm.
or a new TM working with us. And to get a perspective from a new guy really can really can flip the coin for you.
Yeah.
So
Well, the
I
other,
do like that idea of bringing
okay.
everybody in, and 'cause I'm shocked sometimes at the feedback you get from people you would not think would give you that kind of feedback.
Also, I think there's something to be said to have for having skin in the game. When someone asks your input, and you feel more connected because hey, they want to know what I think, and my opinion has value. And versus hey, this is what we're going to do, and you're going to do that, and he's going to do that, and this, that, and the other. And also, when you have that, then I think more likely you're going to have everybody on board with you. You know what I mean? When you have that, and the guys sit down and say, "Hey, we don't want to do any hand scrape floors anymore, man. That killed us." And you go, "Okay, we won't do that." Well, you know what? I think you feel better about things. So, not that everything, obviously business is business, and some things you have to do. We all do things we don't like to do. But I think you just feel more connected to the company, and when your input is valued.
Mm, definitely. It's a good one. All right. Number three, review your financials. There's another one of, what worked and what didn't work, especially when you're buying equipment, paper, I think things like that. I remember when we had Ziza on that one time, and he really told you, keep everything that you're throwing away so you really know what your costs are.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a that was a real eye opener. I think that was for a lot of people who did that.
I think through COVID, I think people learn too what they really need and don't need a lot. And do you really need that storage facility, or can you instead of having your shop, can you go in with somebody and split the rent on somebody that's for instance, he's a painter, a real high-end painter. You know what I mean? A really guy really is a good dialed-in painter, and he's paying 2,000 a month in rent, and you're paying $2,000 a month in rent. Can you split it? And also, there's this synergy there. Hey, I always think it's interesting when trades cross over. We can learn something from trim carpenters. We can learn something from painters. They can certainly learn something from us. So when the trades cross over, and not only that, that you can market and network together. I think if you have guys that you trust and you respect each other, whatever, man, refer each other to different jobs, it goes miles. I mean, yeah, I'll tell you, there was a really super high-end painter we used to get all kinds of jobs from. And it was very easy for me to say, hey, by the way, if you're doing any painting, we recommend you do that first. And I cannot recommend this guy enough. Hand him the card. I mean, how's that guy not going to get the job when you get referred from me?
It's funny you said high-end painters because one of Bum's best buddies is a big time high-end painter. And man, have they started really in the past couple of years, they have really started working together. Not so much together on projects, but like you
Mhm.
said, that synergy, and they're both introducing each other to their high-end customers, their high-end clientele, because Bum's high-end,
Mhm.
not a lot of work, but a lot per square foot quality. The people are looking for that. And his buddy is the same way as in painting. So they completely work off of each other, trading jobs, customers, recommendations, and everything. And that has worked unbelievable for both of them.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I just like flooring guys. I've been around a lot of painters in my life. We all have. And I used to think, painters, man. I mean, there's no skill to it. And look at these guys. It just like they fell into this job. It could have been this, or they could have went to work at Target. You know what I mean, or Jack in the Box, whatever.
Yeah.
And then if you're ever around super high end painters, like it's like, man, it's very impressive, and you realize what a skill that is. Guys that have a really good eye, guys that are clean, guys that are professional, guys that are dialed in. Man, that's a skill, man. That I think I took for granted because I see a lot of knuckleheads. Um, but and I think we did a show one time. We asked like, what was the number one reason why people hire painters instead of doing it themselves? And I think it was the number one reason is ladders. They don't want people to want to get up on ladders. If you have a high, high ceiling and everything, I totally get that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so got off track a little bit there, but so when you're looking at your financials at the end of the year, uh, man, it's just this trade is made up of nothing but little things. You usually don't get bit by something huge. Usually isn't that the house caught on fire. It isn't usually that you've installed the flooring the wrong direction on 4,000 square feet and you got to tear the whole thing out. It's not that. It's little things. All these small little details that, and if you look at where you can make money, we talk about upselling, doing little small details and everything that it makes a world of difference. Um, I passed by a bunch of homes the other day, and their new home put up in the last 10 or 15 years, whatever. Every home looks the same. Like every home, they're identical. So how nice would it be? Like what makes a house a home? Um, Recently, I put in a surround sound stereo in my house, connected to my TV as Sonos. Do you have surround sound in your house?
No.
Oh my God, you have never lived. You owe it to yourself to go out right now and buy yourself a surround sound. Rob, it's unbelievable. It has made such a difference in my life. I mean, I'm a music fan. You're a music fan. You have terrible music uh, taste, but nevertheless, you're a music fan. Man, you get surround sound. It is unreal to me. So what makes a house a home? You have a house, you have your own room, whatever, you have surround sound, you have leather seats, you have a beautiful hardwood floor. So if you paint that picture to the homeowner, you know what I mean? You say, listen, all these houses look the same, blah blah blah. You get just the small little details, man. The herringbone entryway. It doesn't have to be. Back in the day, it was all everything was bordered, and it was all feature strip, and then there was a medallion in the entryway. Frankly, it's kind of boring to me now. But now just a little fancy detail around the fireplace, a little sexy trim, even you take a feature strip and reduce it down to like a 3/16 inch wide, just like a pinstripe, you know what I mean? Around just really nice little details, even texture of the wood, like wire brushing. I know it's not as popular as it once was, but all these little details that make it, man, it just so I guess what I'm saying is this trade is made up of a lot of different things that you can make money on. Maybe if you look at your sandpaper, you save any cost there. If your gas and everything in the vans, if maybe you're making you've been like we had Chris on that had talked about bidding or giving free estimates and charging for estimates. So he's not running all over town, and how much time that freed up with him and how much money it saved him. So they're these small little business decisions. These are not huge things, but by the end of the year, and if you could tack on another 25 cents a square foot on every job, or 50 cents or $1 a square foot, and if you look how many square foot you do at the end of the year, like I said, most of us can't scale up. We can't hire 10 more guys and take on all these jobs. We can only take on so many jobs. So how do we get the most money we can out of those jobs? I am a firm believer. I don't care where you are in the country. If you give them a reason to buy it and you sell the job right, they'll pay for it. They'll add these high end things or because okay, so I know I'm going on a rant here, but so we talk about back in the day you had to do custom like fancy custom borders. Like we did a lot of borders of feature strip and corners and stuff like that, which was very time consuming. But what if instead of doing that, we said, listen, let's let's choose a custom color just for you, something that you really want, and spend more time on choosing the stain color. Now, this is something in the past I hated to do. I hated picking out stain color. I used to get my brothers to do it because I was so impatient about just pick a damn color. You know what I mean? But it's a trade-off. Now you have these big open concept rooms where you can make a lot of time. Wide plank, custom rooms, the products have got better, whatever, faster, the milling is better. You're making better time. So maybe take more time on the stain selection, make it more of a show, make it more of a custom thing just for your home. So what customizes that floor to them is just the stain color. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's just a matter of how you present it and sell it.
Listen, we did a home show a few years ago, and I probably told the story on then. And
Look,
we were
last
talking about what can we do with the home show? We can't put up a panel in sand and stuff like that. But what he did was he cut a bunch of oak and ash, and he cut up a bunch of 3x3 or 4x4 blocks. And we put all sorts of stains and paints, and we let people invent their own color.
Hmm.
And then on the back of the block, we were writing what the ratios were, two parts of this, one part of that. Uh,
Yeah.
it was unbelievable. And it was a riot because by the end of the show, after a couple of days, you saw a bunch, just tons of people walking around with their own little block. And I'll
Oh,
tell you
that
what,
great idea.
and Bum was telling me, he goes, another thing about taking time with people and letting them create their own color. He
Yep.
said, I never walk in the next day and hear, it's too dark, or
Hmm.
it's too, he goes, it's nothing but, oh my God, look at that. It's perfect
Yeah.
because it's their color. So,
Yes.
sometimes you might think you're spending a little extra time, but that was one of the things by him spending time with people. And he
Yeah.
goes, and sometimes it's excruciating, but in
It
the
could
end,
al-
it's always a big payoff in the end.
it could also be excruciating.
Did I try to say that word?
You
Yeah,
did, yeah, yeah.
that didn't
You're
come
so
out very good.
close. No,
Yeah, almost.
no, but that's a great point. That's a smart little thing he did there. One of the coolest things we did recently, and Mike Dittmer helped me with this. And I'm gonna give the picture to Chris to show, and maybe you can see this picture here on the thing. Was we painted an entryway with stencils. It was so simple and easy to do, and I think it looks amazing as almost any inlay I mean medallion or anything you'll see that you'll spend a ton of money and time on. This was so easy to do, and for an entryway, it would look stunning. Sure, I've won floor of the year before.
You hear it?
Uh,
There it is.
yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah.
I heard
After
it.
all this time, it just doesn't go away.
Yeah.
But the amount of time that was put into that was insane versus something like this that would like an entryway would blow people away. So,
And the thing about what's available to us now compared to, let's say you were doing this 20 years ago. Well,
mhm,
with the finishes and everything, things were going to change color.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Or it was going to wear, but now, you have product like Traffic HD, crystal clear.
hmm,
So if you are using a paint, you're not going to lose that. It's not going to amber over time.
yeah.
It's going to be well protected. There's a lot more available to us now when you are doing painted stencils and things like that.
Modelo, I think it was Modelo stains, stencils, I think, Modelo or something like that. Beautiful designs and custom colors and just a few little techniques to know about. It was so simple. But to your point about the tools and everything, and about new goals and whatever, you look at revenue streams. Um, I think I said in the last podcast or two that I think people buy new floors like 3 times in their lives. That's maybe once every decade you touch them. Like, okay, so I did my floors. It's been 12, 13 years now. I'm not even thinking about recoating these floors. They're done. So I'm not a customer for anybody now. These floors don't need anything. So why not do the power scrubber and the deep cleaning of hardwood floors? There's no money involved in it. You know what I mean? You've already there. They already trust you. There's a revenue stream. So that's something as we begin the new year. Like, all right, what are different things we can try?
Yeah.
But like I said, it's just the difference between a great year at the end of the year, at the end of 2026, hard to believe, at the end of 2026, that it was okay year. Well, yeah, it was all right, whatever. Or man, it was a great year. We kicked butt this year. Maybe it's just a few little things you can change. Maybe it's adding a new revenue stream. Maybe you can cut costs right here, take advantage of some of the faster drying products that are out there right now, the equipment out there. Maybe, just a little small tweaks. But looking at your business and trying to find out where they're at, I think it's great that I love this. I've talked about it before, like a Josh Hansman and Matt Garcia and Lenny Hall and some of these other guys that give so much. Spriglin, I listen to those guys, man. See what's been working for them. Chris Zizza, as you mentioned, I mean, they're all willing to give back. If you're
Oh,
having
I
a
mean, they're all, yeah, reach out to them. They
Mhm.
can't wait to work with you.
So here's every one of their cell phone numbers. You know what? They really wouldn't mind.
Hey,
I'm sure they
I
would.
do want to jump back a little bit to where you were talking about high-end painters and that kid that my son's involved with, or
Mhm.
they've been buddies for life, whatever. But I always say, I definitely, I'm one of the reasons that my kid charges so much money. But I think the biggest part of what upped his price was he came over the house a few years ago and sat down and said, "We are crazy." And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, he was telling me about his buddy, the high-end painter.
Mhm.
Dad, it is unbelievable how much he gets. Now, we're just here in Albany, New York. We're not in
Yeah,
LA. We're
right.
not in New York City, right?
No,
We're in Albany, New York.
very plain
Very
people.
limited. Very.
Yeah.
And this kid, he said that this guy is getting an amazing amount. And he goes, and he said, look at the investment that we have to make
Hmm.
compared to what he has to make.
Yeah.
And he goes, the equipment investment, and he goes, just the stress of doing floors versus the painting, he said is just, and he goes, and we're so much less money. He goes, it doesn't make any sense. And as much as I've always tried to open his eyes about how to get more, how to
Hmm.
be charging more and why to charge, that I think was his biggest eye opening was what these guys are charging compared to what really is going on
Yeah.
the way we're doing business. He goes, it makes no sense for us to be this cheap at all.
So I think we probably talked everybody into being painters, but anybody is still into doing floors. You know something, you just hit on something there when as I was thinking, I know I never made money on baseboard. I hated it. I seemed like I could never charge enough to make money on it. I just hated doing it. So your buddy that does, maybe have someone else do the baseboard, sub it off to somebody else if you want. But to your point about that, I told you when we did this house, I can't remember if it was a house. It was a big area though, and we charged like I don't know $10,000 or $13,000 to do everything. When we got done, we helped her roll out a Oriental rug on top of it. It was like about a 10 by 10, and the price tag was on it. It was almost $10,000 for that rug. I'm looking around, and go, we did all
Yeah.
this work. We went in there, and that rug is as much as everything we did. So,
Oh, nuts.
all right, what else you got, Rob?
How about refreshing marketing strategy? All I can
Well,
think of is bringing in Madeline on this one.
I was going to say, all we need to say to that is go back and listen to the episode when we had Madeline on, our marketing. She's super good at that. And
The social
yeah,
media marketing. Yeah,
yeah,
because I think that's, man, the more people I talk to, the more people who come to the schools and even, being on Instagram and on social media, boy, oh boy, that
yeah,
is absolutely the way to go. If you're not dialing into that, you're leaving money behind.
yeah. Or at least listen to it and see where you should invest some energy. If you're going to put any energy into it, maybe give that one a listen. That she's really, really good. We'll go through the rest of these pretty quick. Um, Reconnect with your customers.
Straight.
Uh,
Wait a minute, you forgot the number
okay,
five.
streamline your operations.
Streamline the operations. Who we canning? Who we getting rid of today?
Yeah, yeah.
I was watching some guy the other day and he goes, there's three types of workers.
Hmm.
He goes, there's three types of workers. He goes, there's a worker who comes to you and he says, hey, I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. And you're like, listen, no way. What do we need to do here?
Hmm.
Let's find a way. What is going on? I thought you were happy.
Let's
You
make it
know,
work.
let's we got to make this work. That's number one. Number two is guy comes in, giving you my 2 weeks notice. Oh man, that's too bad. Now it's going to be a pain in the neck to find
Mhm.
somebody, but thanks for being here. And I hate to see you go,
Yeah,
but if you got to go. And then the third guy is you're trying to, hey, giving you my 2 weeks notice, and you're trying not to jump up out of your chair and kick your heels like, oh, thank
yeah,
God.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've had that.
And I was watching this and I'm like, wow, boy, that nailed it right there.
Yep.
The three types of workers. Yep. Where are you?
No,
Where
no question. You're asking, you're asking where am I? I
where are you?
mean, explain that question to me.
Oh, come on. You and
Be,
I, we're the number one. We're that first
well,
guy.
of course. How
Of
you have to
course
even
we
ask?
are.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the funny part is though, is the third guy probably thinks he's the number one guy too.
Well, I've had that guy, and then and told me that they were going to move on, and they got another job and everything, and I'll give you as much time as you need. I go, be honest with you, I really don't need any. Um, I'm happy for you and what have you, but we're good.
When I was watching that, I was thinking of you. I'm like, he's had this. He's definitely
Yeah.
had this. He's had guys come to him before.
Yep. Not everybody's a good fit. All right.
Exactly.
Let's go real quick on anything that's building.
Reconnecting with your customers. We have just been pounding that in the schools so much now about keeping that lifetime customer. I mean, with the deep cleaning process, with getting back in there and doing that yearly deep cleaning, what a great way to reconnect and to make sure they're taking care of your project and their project and take care of everything correctly on the floors because it's just going to be money in your pocket further down the line. So reconnecting with customers, like I said, the biggest mistake I made was never reconnecting with any of my old customers, never keeping
Yeah.
track of them. And I mean, just God, you'd say that out loud, you feel stupid.
Well, nowadays, I mean, people have gotten smarter and what have you. So I totally get that. I've been guilty of that myself. Um,
Invest in your team.
yep. Training, training.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
big time.
And I'll tell you what the great part about Bona training is we are always, every year, working to make it better, working to improve it. I mean, yeah, the other thing with Bona, there's always new products, new procedures, just some great stuff out there. But as far as the training programs and what we're involved with, we're always trying to make it better. We always want.
Well,
I do love when people come and they're like, I was in training 5 years ago, and then they're leaving and they're like, wow, can't believe, I didn't think I was really going to learn anything. I was here 3, 4, 5 years ago, and just amazing. So we try to keep it fresh.
well, you get that money back. You get that money back in productivity and knowledge and not having callbacks and to be able to advertise it to your clients. I've said before that recently, in fact, that people say, "Oh, I'm joining the NWFA. It doesn't do anything for me. It hasn't got me any jobs, or I've gone to training. I don't need to do that." But I think if you really tell that story to the clients the right way, I think they'll it makes a difference to them. Because people say, "Oh, certificates doesn't my homeowners don't care, or they never ask for certificates, whatever." But I think you tell them, "Listen, we don't have to send our guys to training. Most people don't. If you ask them, most people probably don't send their guys to training, but we do. We do it every year. We do it on my dime because I think it makes them better. It makes them more engaged in the proper use of the products and everything. So I just want to let you know, this is as a company, we send their guys to training every year or whatever it is, and just so you know what that's about. So I think it does matter. You can't tell me it doesn't matter. I think it does matter. So
Oh,
all
absolutely.
right. Well, we're coming up against it, Rob.
Okay. Let's go right to number 10.
Okay.
Build a contingency plan.
Hmm.
So I
Be a
don't
painter.
know if we need to if we need to build a contingency plan or let's add something to what we're doing. I don't mean as a painter, but we get a lot of guys who come to the schools. I never install. I just sand. I want to learn the installs.
Yeah.
I never sand. All I do is install. I want to learn the
Hmm.
sanding. I never did recoats. For all those guys, I never did deep cleaning. I never did recoats. I don't do this. I don't do that. That can be a pretty good contingency plan.
Well, I don't like passing up money. So, and if you ask me why I ever went to training to begin with, the number one reason I ever always went to training from the very beginning is I was always afraid someone was going to ask me to do something that I didn't know how to do. And that would be embarrassing to me. You know what I mean? So
Hmm.
I was motivated by fear. Like someone will ask me to do a chevron floor or whatever, and I don't know the proper way to lay it out, or I'm going to make a mistake because I didn't know this thing and I didn't know that. And when I first started going to schools back in the 80s, I was blown away, man, blown away by the knowledge and the craftsmen, how good these guys were. And then, man, setting up a jig like this to do, I remember doing these corners that had several different miters on them, what have you. We'd cut them one at a time on a chop saw, whatever. And then Gene from Renaissance Floors showed me how to make a jig where you could run it through the table saw and make all the cuts at one time with one pass. Oh my God. I couldn't believe it. I was like that was like he was an astronaut, man. I mean, I couldn't believe that you could just make one jig and make all the cuts at one time like that. And it made my life so much easier. It was such a pleasure. So, that's you get your money back going to the schools, no doubt. So, all right, Rob, I appreciate it. I'm gonna be honest with you, it started off a little rough, but you had an idea, and I wanted to stick by you, and you made it. You did good.
Thank you so much for that.
All right, everybody, this has been another episode of On the Floor with Wayne and Rob. Please stay tuned for another episode.